Hello and welcome to my channel. This video is going to be a book haul. I have around 40 books to talk about. The last book haul that I did was, I think it was around July. So since then, I have actually bought a lot of books and I'm really excited to talk about them. First things first, I have a lot of books from one author and that is Stephanie Archer. I bought so many of her books. I have That Kind of Guy, which is the first book in the Queen's Cove series, and then I also have Green Roads Forever, which is the fourth and final book in that series. I have actually already read that. I read it years ago, but I wanted to have a physical copy of it. And I have also read the second book in this series. I haven't read the third and the fourth book. So I'm very happy to finally own every single book in this series. And then I also bought the first book in the Vancouver Storm series and the second one. So I have Behind the Net and The Fake Out. Again, I read them 2 years ago and I wanted to own them. And I also bought the fourth book, which is Gloves Off. And this is the newest release. It came out this year, I think. And I really wanted to own it because I do own The Wingman. I have read that. I think I read it in a reading vlog. And I wanted to pick this one up because I'm so excited about the characters and the plot of this book. So I did end up picking up 5 different books from the same author. Then I have 2 books from List on 40. The first one is The Right Move, which is the second book in the Windy City series. And I also bought Rewind It Back, which is the 5th and final book in that series. I have read The Right Move. I haven't read Rewind It Back. I do want to pick it up in the new year at this point. I actually want to do a reread of all of the books and then pick up this one. But yeah, I owned all of the other books and these were the only 2 that I didn't have a physical copy of. So I'm happy that I finally owned them. Then I have 3 books from Emily Henry. I have Happy Place, which is a book that I'm really excited about. I'm excited about Emily Henry in general. Fun fact, I haven't read a single book from Emily Henry. I do now officially own every single one of them and I do want to make a reading vlog about them, reading every single one of the books. I think I'm gonna do that around springtime. I want to do it spring 2025, but that obviously did not happen. I'm hoping spring 2026 is going to be the year that I will finally read Emily Henry books. But I have Happy Place, which is one of her most popular books, I'm pretty sure. Then I have Patriot, which is the book that made her very popular. And then lastly, I have Funny Story, which I have heard mixed reviews about. But again, I'm really excited to read all 3 of these. And also Book Lovers and People We Meet on Vacation, which I do also own. I'm trying to actually talk about all of the authors that I have multiple books from, and then I'm gonna talk about the rest of the books. I also have the Rebel Blue Ranch series. I have the first 2 books. So I have Done and Dusted and Sweet and Saddled. I'm really curious about this series. I have heard really good things and a lot of people fell in love with it because it reminds them of the Chestnut Spring series. I have heard that Chestnut Spring series is better than this, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I also, from what I understand, the last 2 books in this series are better than the first 2 books. So we'll see when I will actually end up reading it, but I have the first 2 books and I'm excited. They are small, so I'm thinking that they're going to be great quick reads. Then I have 2 books from Ali Hazelwood. The first one is Deep End. I read this book when it first came out. I do have a video about it and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars, I'm pretty sure. It wasn't my favorite, but it was fun. I always love Ali Hazelwood's writing, so that's a given every single time that I read one of her books. But there were a couple of things that I didn't love about this. A female character, I'm just gonna say that. And then I also ended up buying Mate by Ali Hazelwood, which is her newest release, and this is the second book in a duology, I think. The first book is Bride. I love this book so much. I also gave it 4.5 stars, but I would say that I prefer this one over this one. I'm really happy that I own both of these books. Now, the only book that I don't own from Ali Hazelwood is Problematic Summer Romance. I have read it, but I don't own the physical copy of it, so I really need to buy that soon, and then I will have every single one of them. Although, for the past couple of years, she has been releasing one book in the beginning of the year, so around February, I would say. I don't know if she's gonna do that again. She hasn't announced anything, but I officially have every single Ali Hazelwood book except Problematic Summer Romance, and I am gonna buy that pretty soon. Then I have 2 books from Taj McCoy. The first one is Zora Books Her Happy Ever After. I'm really excited about this book because it's about books, obviously. I'm pretty sure that she is a librarian, an indie bookseller, even better. I'm sold. And then it's a famous author and his best friend. It's a love triangle. Well, obviously there's 2 guys in the cover. Okay, so this is gonna be a bit messy, I'm thinking, so hopefully I'm gonna like it. I love the covers of this author, so that's why I really wanted to buy the books. And also, they sound really interesting. I also have Savi Seldon Feels Good as Hell. They're so gorgeous. I love the colors. I love the art style. And this is about a hopeless romantic, same, a clueless boyfriend, and a very cute contractor. Wait a minute, is this also a love triangle? I knew that this one was a love triangle because obviously there's 2 guys, but with with this one, there's only one guy. I don't know, I'm kind of confused now. I guess I'm gonna read it to find out. I was pretty sure that it was not a love triangle. Usually when there's a love triangle, they have 3 people in the cover. Now there's only 2 and a really adorable dog. I'm gonna figure it out when I actually pick them up. Then I have a whole series that I bought because I have no self-control. I would say every single book was on sale, and I think I got every single one of them for around €3, and that's why I did buy 4 out of the 5 books in the series. And that is the Summer series by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I have actually read the first book, which is The Summer We Fell. I hated it, which is so sad because I have read the Devil series by this author and I love that series. I will say the first 2 books were my favorite, and then it went a tiny bit downhill for me, but I was excited to read more books from this author because she writes amazing banter, which is something that I always am looking for and I always love. I actually picked this up in summer and I didn't like it at all. I think I gave it around 2 stars. I didn't like any of the characters. It had cheating. I don't care if this cheating is with other people and not with the main characters. I don't care. I don't want to read about cheating. And in general, this book didn't have anything else going for it and anything else that I would have liked. The whole book felt very toxic and it wasn't even entertaining. So we have the first book, which is The Summer We Fell, and then I'm kind of fuzzy on the order of them. I have The Summer I Saved You, The Summer I Destroyed You, and The Summer You Found Me. I am going to continue with the series, especially because I do own the books and I want to see if maybe the other ones are going to be better. I think that the author tried something different with this one and it just didn't work for me. So I do want to read more books in this series and see if it was just the first one. I'm hoping that that was the case because first of all, I love how they look, and secondly, I really want to read more books from this author because I really love the Devil series. And then the last author that I have multiple books from is Lana Ferguson. I have The Fake Mate and The Game Changer. I'm really excited to read books from this author. She has quite a few out and I have heard so many great things about her writing. I think that her first book is The Nanny. I don't know if it's the first book that she published or if it's just the first book that really got popular. I do think that it's the first book that she published and I have heard incredible things about it. The premise of it sounds really good and I do want to pick it up eventually, but for now I do have these 2. I have also heard great things about these 2 books and I have seen people really enjoying this one and saying that if you liked Bride, you're gonna enjoy this one. So I'm excited to read it. This is a sports romance and this is obviously a werewolf romance. Hopefully that's not gonna fall. And then we have random books. The first one that I'm gonna talk about is Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Colquhoun. I read Here We Go Again from this author in the middle of the year, I think, and I gave it 5 stars. I enjoyed it so much. It's a sapphic romance. It has to do with road trip. It has to do with some heavier topics too, and I had so much fun with it. And it was the first book that I read from this author. I have also read The Charm Offensive. I didn't love it as much, but I still gave it around 3.5, so I still had fun with it. And I knew that this author had one more book, and that is Kiss Her Once for Me. It's a Christmassy book. It takes place around Christmas, so I decided to pick it up. I'm really happy that I did. I haven't read it, but I have high expectations for it because, like I said, I read a sapphic romance from this author and I loved it, so I'm hoping that I'm also gonna love this one. And it sounds really entertaining because it's about this girl and she ends up fake dating a guy. She ends up falling for his sister, and that sounds so messy and so fun. I'm really excited about it. I'm definitely gonna be picking it up this holiday season. Then I have Save It by Tara DeWitt. This was a surprise. I was expecting to not like it. I'm gonna be honest. I read the co-op from this author, I want to say 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, and I didn't like it. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't really feel the chemistry and I was kind of bored. So I did pick it up having low expectations, but I actually had a lot of fun with it. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I had fun with it and I would highly recommend the audiobook for it too. It made the whole experience better. But if you can see, I have actually annotated the book. So I'm happy that I gave this author another chance, and since then I have read Funny Feelings and I gave that book 3.75. So I am gonna read more books from this author. I really want to read the second book in this series, which is Left of Forever, and there is a third book coming out in the new year. I'm excited to continue with the series. I'm excited to try more books from this author, and maybe I will do a reread of the co-op because now it's traditionally published. So I will have to look it up and see if they changed anything, and if they did, I might end up rereading it because I had a lot of fun with this one. And again with funny feelings. Then I have kind of a random book, at least I feel like it's random. I ended up picking up The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I read this book in 2020, I'm pretty sure, and I read the ebook of it, so I never had a physical copy of it. And this book holds such a special place in my heart because it was one of the first books that I read and that got me back into reading. So I wanted to have a physical copy of it. I didn't want to buy a new one, so I found this used one. I was hoping that it wouldn't be in such bad condition. I don't know if you can see, but the spine is really cracked, and then the pages also are a tiny bit bent. So the condition, it's not perfect, but I'm happy that I own it and that I have it in my collection. Another book that I read years ago and I just wanted to own the physical copy of is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. This is a Christmas book, a Christmas novella to be exact, and I read it I think 2021 actually. I loved it so much. I had so much fun with it. This was my introduction to Tessa Bailey. At least I think that it was my introduction to Tessa Bailey. I really fell in love with it. It was one of the first Christmas books that I ever read. It was actually the first Christmas book that I ever read. I love the New York vibe of it. I loved how the characters were with each other, and I think that this was one of the books that made me realize that I really love romance. Then I have a Christina Lauren book, and that is The Paradise Problem. I have actually read this book and it was so good. I give it 4.5 I think. Highly recommend this book when summer comes around. It was so fun. It was a true rom-com and I loved it. Then another summer book is Summer Reading by Jen McKinley. I picked this up thinking that I was going to read it in summer, but I didn't obviously end up reading it. I want to pick it up this summer because I'm really interested. This author writes in a different font than what I'm used to. I think that it's a font that is meant to help dyslexic people. I haven't read anything with that font, so I'm excited to try it and see if I like it, because obviously it's something different from what I'm used to, and it also has to do with books. Obviously Summer Reading, the title. Then I have Collide by Bal Cabra. I think in my previous haul I showed Spiral, which is the second book, and I wanted to also pick up the first book because I want to do a reread. I don't really remember what happened in this book. I remember it kind of, but I think I read it way too close to Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, so for that reason I don't remember this one as much as I remember Icebreaker. So I want to do a reread of this one and then I'm gonna pick up Spiral. Even though I have seen some things about Spiral that I didn't love, I'm hoping that I'm not gonna have an issue with them. Then I have Bad Publicity by Bianca Gillam. This is an author that I have been seeing a lot lately. It sounded very interesting. It's about an author and a publicist and they are forced to go on this European tour together. Yeah, 2 exes, 1 month on tour. What could go wrong? It sounds so fun. It deals with traveling Europe, which is always something that I'm excited about. The font is huge, so it's going to be a really quick read. Hopefully I'm gonna like it because so far I think that every single book from this author is about books and I always love reading about books. And then I have Drunken Love by Jasmine Guillory. I have read 2 books from this author. The first one was The Wedding Date and the second one was The Proposal. It's part of a series, both of them. I didn't continue with the series. I don't know if I'm going to. I didn't love the books. I gave them 3 stars. They were fine, nothing special, but this is a new series that she has and there's also a second book in this one. I don't know if there's going to be a third book, but I decided to pick it up and try it out and see if maybe I'm gonna like this one more than the other series. Hopefully I will, because the second book, it's a sapphic romance and you know I love that. Speaking of sapphic romance, I also bought The Fiancé Farce by Alexandria Bellafleur. I read Truly Madly Deeply from this author earlier this year and I fell in love with it. I gave it 4 stars. I loved the banter, I loved the characters, I loved the connection between them. So since then I have actually bought every single book that this author has. She did come out with a new book I think in November of this year, so I do want to eventually pick that up, but right now I have 4 books from this author on my physical TBR, so I want to read those first and then I'm gonna pick up the newest one. And this is obviously about a fake marriage of convenience situation, and I love that. I love fake dating, I love a sapphic romance, I loved marriage of convenience, anything like that I'm always obsessed with, and I'm hoping that is going to be as good as Truly Madly Deeply. Then I have an Abby Jimenez book and that is Life's Too Short. This is the 3rd book in the Friendzone series. I had actually already read this I think last year, but I didn't own the physical copy of it. I owned the first 2 books in the old covers, which to be honest the only different thing that they have is the font of the cover, but I saw that this year they decided to change the covers, the old ones, and do this font in every single one of them, which makes sense. Obviously they want all of the covers to be a bit more cohesive, but I wanted the old one because it would match the other 2 books in this series. I did order it thinking that it was going to be the old one. It ended up being the new one. It's not that big of a deal. I'm so happy that I own the book. It's just kind of annoying that it doesn't match with the other ones, but I'm not that bothered about it. Then Then I have Hate Mail by Donna Marchetti, and I don't know what this is about. It says that there's a fine line between love and hate, so I'm guessing that this is rivals to lovers. This was very popular a couple of years ago. I think that everyone was talking about it on Book Talk, on YouTube, on Instagram even. So I'm excited to see what it's about. I think that it's an office romance. Oh, there's a playlist. There's some bangers in this playlist. Death by a Thousand Cuts by Taylor Swift. Love that song. People Watching by Conan Gray. Love that song. There's even Sabrina Carpenter. Wait, I'm obsessed with this playlist and it's making me want to pick up the book. I am definitely going to be listening to the playlist while I'm reading this because those songs, great choices. And I'm pretty sure that this is an office romance. Then I have Breakaway by Grace Riley. I read the first book, which is First Down. I think I gave it around 2.75. It was okay. I was listening to it while I was driving to and from uni, and I decided to pick up a second book to see if this one was better and to see if I'm gonna continue with the series. I didn't realize that this is almost double the size of the first book. The first book was tiny and this one is 430 pages. The first one was barely 300 pages. We'll see if this one needed to be that much bigger. This is a sports romance and it's a coach's daughter sort of romance, which sounds exciting, and the most exciting part is that there's a cat. Throw a cat or a book in the cover and I'm sold. Another book that I'm really excited about is Fake Flame by Adele Buck. Here's the thing, this one doesn't have a great average rating on Goodreads. It actually has a really bad one, but it's about a firefighter, and I think that she's a teacher, but that doesn't matter. He's a firefighter, and I haven't read that many books about firefighters, and it's also really short. I want to pick it up pretty soon because it sounds really interesting. I'm really intrigued about the whole firefighter situation, and the cover is gorgeous, so I'm happy that I own it. Hopefully I'm gonna like it, even though the average rating is really bad. Then I have The Takedown by Carly Walker. This is another kind of random book. I don't know where I even found this book. I saw someone talking about it on Instagram, I think, and I read the synopsis of it. This is about a wedding and we have the female main character. She's an undercover agent, and then there's the best man that doesn't really like her. I don't know if for female main character. Wait, I was wrong. It says on the back, Sydney's mission is simple. Stop her little sister from marrying a notorious criminal. Seduce his bodyguard to gather intel for the FBI. Definitely do not fall in love. This is better than what I was thinking. This does seem like more of a summary book, but I do think that I'm gonna read it in springtime because that sounds so good. So she is a special agent trying to gain intel on the groom and he is his bodyguard. That sounds amazing. Then I have The Good Part by Sophie Cousins. This is a bit different from what I'm used to. You probably have gathered I usually read romance books. I actually don't know if it has romance, but it's about our female main character and she has always said, I just want to get to the good part, which is something that a lot of times I also say and I feel like most people say. And one day she wakes up and she is in that part. But I think that throughout the book we just learned that it's all about the process of getting there. It's not just being there. It says on the back, what if you could fast forward to your happy ever after? It sounds really interesting. I was intrigued about the whole fast forwarding to the future, to the good part, because again, something that I always think about is I wish that I was in the good part. So I'm curious how I'm gonna feel about it. I'm curious if it will make me see things a bit differently, and I have heard pretty good things about this author, so I'm excited about this one. We have 6 books left. The next one is Love Me Do by Lindsay Kelk. I have read this book and it was really fun. It was very entertaining. It was a bit more of a character study rather than a romance. There is romance in it, but I was a bit more invested in the other relationships that the main character had, that the main female character had. So I would actually recommend this book if you're looking for, yes, a summary book, but not as much of a romance book. Then I have Fancy Meeting You Here by Julie Chu. I think that this is a second chance romance and it's about these two exes that they end up having to work together. Opposites attract when and always the bridesmaid florist and a grumpy caterer mix business with pleasure. I was actually wrong. So they're not exes. Apparently I don't know what I'm talking about because they're not exes, but they are forced to work together, so forced proximity. And again, a really short book. We'd love to see it. Then I have The Italian Job by Catherine Freeman. This is also forced proximity and I think that they are... What? It says dream job, dream house, fake fiance. What the heck? I didn't know that this was a fake marriage sort of situation. They are pretending to be engaged so that they can stay in this dream house. And it takes place in Italy, which is a place that I have been. I haven't been to Lake Como, which is where this particular book takes place, but I'm excited to visit Lake Como through this book. It sounds interesting and it sounds like the perfect summary book. Then I have Date with Destiny by Lucy Vine. I'm pretty sure that this is magical realism them. This is about Jeannie, and 16 years ago she crossed paths with a psychic who made some key predictions about her 32nd year, and now she's turning 32. And she doesn't really believe in the whole psychic prediction thing, but when the things that the psychic said are starting to come true, she's like, wait a second. It sounds interesting. I haven't read anything else like it. I'm hoping that it's going to be fun. I love the cover of this book. I think that it's one of the prettiest, more subtle book covers. Then another summary book, at least I think that it's summary. From the cover it looks summary, and that book is Mrs. Nash's Ashes by Sarah Adler. I don't know if it was this book or another one from this author. A lot of people were talking about it, so I decided to pick it up. It sounds kind of interesting to me. It's about these two people. I don't know if they were friends. No, it's a strangers to lovers, which I don't know if I'm gonna love because I'm not a huge fan of strangers to lovers. It really needs to be done in a particular way in order for me to not feel like it's instant love. But essentially they do this road trip in order for her to deliver her best friend's ashes. I don't know, that sounds kind of interesting to me and very different from what I'm used to, so we'll see how we'll feel about it. These piles are gonna fall in my head, but I have only one book left, and that is Last Tank Standing by Lauren Ho. I honestly don't know what this book is about. It was on sale and that's why I ended up buying it. I'm pretty sure that it says on the back, for fans of Crazy Rich Asians and Bridget Jones' Diary. I don't love Bridget Jones' Diary. I've seen only the first one and I didn't love it, but I did really like Crazy Rich Asians, so I'm hoping that it's gonna give similar vibes to that, and that's why I bought it. So those are the 45 books that I bought in the last 4-5 months of the year. I have done a lot of book shopping this year and I'm really happy about it. I am running out of space. I'm like double stacking them and squeezing them together, so I do need to figure that one out because I'm not planning on not buying more books. I don't think that I'm gonna buy any other books by the end of this year. I mean, the year ends in like 2 weeks, so I just wanted to do a little wrap up and talk to you about the rest of the books that I bought this year. I hope that you liked this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
You give me butterflies when you smile and it feels so good.